Comicchatauthority. We're here with Andre Daniels, the creator of Treble, and he has a comic company called Brutal Planet Comics. How you doing, Andre?
I'm doing really well, Cody. Thank you for having me.
Oh yeah, it's my pleasure, man. So, what you been up to recently?
Well, recently, I've been in the mix. Actually, I recently, about a month ago, had released the second issue of Treble, The Rhythm Within, um, or for digital, because unfortunately, because of the pandemic,
Mm.
I couldn't get my hard copies, and of course, I had to cancel all my events, so that kind of sucked. But we're all in the comic community. We're all readjusting to this new COVID way of doing things.
Right. And where can people get the book Trouble, The
Well,
Rhythm
you
Within?
could you could definitely go to spinwiz.com, one of the greatest comic vendors out there right now, and just type in Trouble or Brutal Planet Comics, and you can get all of my issues, and they'll be right there and available.
How many issues is available right now?
So currently, two issues are available in both English and Spanish. It's Trouble, The Rhythm Within, Part 1 and Part 2. And Trouble number 3 is currently in production. And hopefully, if everything is produced on time, Trouble number 3 will be ready on July 31st. July 31st. If there's 31 in July, then yes, it will
Yeah, I
be.
think it's 31.
Yeah, I think it's 31. Yeah.
All right. How far do you plan on taking this book? How many issues do you see?
Excellent question, Cody. So this series actually has 8 issues. They're all going to be released in separate parts, part 1 through 8.
Right.
Um, Once that is done, I'm actually going to make a novelization of those 8 parts, so I can slam it in a nice one big sandwich. So it could be like a volume one, as it were, before I start going into the next series.
All right. Are you gonna do like spin-offs on the on this
Actually,
character?
yes, yes, that's an excellent question. I actually do have a spinoff in the works. It's quite some ways off. Um, in the first, after the first series is done, I'm actually going to start going into the sequel series. But there are going to be particular characters introduced towards the end of the first series, in
Mm.
which they're going to get mini series. One of them is going to be a character which is actually going to be the main villain ultimately, named Max Powers. And he's going to be shrouded in a lot of mystery by the time of the end of this series. So is a lot of I know for sure that a lot of folks are going to want to know more about him. How do you get from A to B? How do you become this villain? So I'm going to do I believe I have in the works a 4-part miniseries. I'm still trying to decide whether it be a 4-part miniseries or just a mini novel
Mm.
of basically his origin.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That sounds awesome. So, what gave you the inspiration for your character?
That's an excellent question, Cody. A lot of people have asked. Um, for those that aren't too familiar with it, basically the idea of this character is that our character gains a new power and ability based on the genre of music that he listens to.
Mm.
So even when I was a kid, um, I used to, growing up in the inner city, I grew up in Washington, D.C. And growing up in the inner city, there was so many different, everybody had different music. It was very diverse culture. We had some
Yep.
black folks, some Puerto Rican folks, some Mexican folks, people from India, people from all different cultures that listened to different music.
Mm.
Um, so I always was curious about what other people listened to. One thing that growing up in the city, one thing we all listened to was rap, hip hop, and go-go, which a lot of people aren't that familiar with. It's more of a DC genre, but it is what it is. But I used to hear all the time that like I was also interested in metal. I liked Metallica. I've liked Avenged Sevenfold. I liked all these different musics. But when I used to watch the music videos on MTV or like on whatever channel, they would always be angry and aggressive. I'm like, man, they are upset about something. I don't know what they're upset about, but good
Right.
grief, they're having a hard time. And then when you look at like hip hop or something, it's all about I'm tough, I'm hard, I'm a gangster. I'm like, maybe they are. They might be gangsters. I'm not sure. But it got me thinking. I'm like, what if music reflected how you really felt on the inside? So with that idea, I took like, okay, let's take the stereotypes of how people say music is supposed to work. So for instance, like let's take rock music for instance. Like I was mentioning before, usually there's a lot of aggressive tone and fight this, rebel against this, whatever. I
Hmm.
always thought of something strength and power and aggression. So in the series, when my character, excuse me, my character listens to rock, metal, or a variation thereof, he becomes more aggressive. He gets adrenaline, and he actually gets a strength increase because based on the idea of what that type of music is supposed to do.
Hmm.
So basically, throughout this series, he'll discover different powers as he continues his journey and see what abilities these musics will begin to give him. And so I thought it was a really cool and fun idea. Like I've had this rolling around for quite some time, but then I was like, you know what? I'm putting this one to paper, and we're gonna see how far this one can go. Because I've written like other series before, but I never bothered taking it as far as this one. And I was like, you know what? I like this idea. It feels fresh. It feels original. Like I'm gonna roll with it and see how far we can go. So overall, that's pretty much how the origin kind of started of this character in this series.
All right. How many different genres of music are we going to see in the 8-part series?
Okay, in this 8-part series, we're going to see 5 genres. We're going to see
Okay.
5 genres depicted. We're gonna get rock. We're gonna get rap. We're gonna get classical. We're gonna get reggae dancehall, and we're gonna get techno.
All right. That yeah, that sounds pretty fun. You should
Yeah.
do like an audio book so people can hear the different sounds.
You know something? This I'm glad you mentioned that, Cody, because I've been thinking about it a lot. Like once this series is done, to do like a audiobook of it,
Hmm.
or like one of those motion comics.
Yep.
And so I'm thinking about doing that, and I'm also thinking about maybe at some point or another pitch this as maybe a web show or something of that nature. Because obviously it's written, so you can't hear the music.
Right.
But how I wrote each one is I wrote original lyrics that go with each genre, and then I'll have expressive colored bubbles
Mhm.
for the genre itself. Also, the character himself, so that the audience can have a visual representation of what genre he's listening to. It will be a glow of the hands.
Okay.
So rock is going to be red, and
Hmm.
as the series goes on, it catches on. Rock's going to be red. Um, Classical is going to be green. Dance hall reggae is going to be yellow, kind of like the Jamaican flag. Techno is going to be blue, and the hip hop is going to have a white glow. But based on the ability that he uses, it's going to be a transformation each time as well. It's going to be a physical change that the audience will be able to see and recognize. So
Okay.
it won't be like, oh, I wonder which one he's doing. You don't have to guess.
Right.
You'll be like, oh, he's big and strong and has red hands. Oh, he's using rock now. Oh, he's going super fast and moving his legs really fast. Oh, he's doing reggae now. So it's going to be it's going to be so visually interpreted that there wouldn't have to be any guesswork.
Okay. And can he use different powers at the same time? Just switch them on and off?
Yes, yes. So basically, the idea is initially throughout the basically this is a story like we've seen 1,000 times throughout our childhood and up to now. It's the hero's journey.
Mm.
It's the hero's journey. We see a character that doesn't know what's going on or what have you. An incident happens, and then after that incident happens, then the character has to make decisions to affect the whole journey all the way through. So in this series, the first half of the series, he's learning how to
Right.
use his abilities, and then in the second half, he's gonna be a lot more familiar with what he can do. Um, so you're gonna see the growth of the character. You're gonna see the growing pains. You're gonna see him mess up a bunch. You're gonna see how he's gonna have to figure out how to learn how to control his powers. So initially, it's gonna look kind of random because he doesn't know what's going on and we don't know what's going on. But as the character grows and things continue, you're like, oh, he's getting the hang of things. And of course, I got like a little training, like an 80s, 90s training montage thing going on in there, so that we can see, like, oh, this is how he's developing how to do this. It's not by osmosis.
Right.
We'll see exactly the growth of the character. It's been pretty fun.
All right. And is this your very first comic book ever?
This is not my first comic ever, but this is actually the first one that I've published ever.
Okay.
I wrote a graphic novel that didn't push further. It was called, oh my goodness, that was years ago. Pandemonium. There it is. It was Pandemonium. And I actually went back and reread the script. I was like, oh my God, this is terrible. And basically, it's supposed to be a dystopian future in which basically fascism kind of pretty much takes over society due to a fake crisis that was created. And basically, every child is then put into a prison camp in order to be indoctrinated into the new world order, as it were. And basically, but there's one kid that hasn't forgotten who his parents were and what they stood for, and then he begins to rebel and start an uprising. Um, it was a good idea, but it just wasn't flushed out the way it should have been. But it was a really good idea, and maybe one day I might go back and revisit it and actually um, make it come to life. But this was the first one I actually pushed as far as this is going, because I was gun ho. I was like, this is I'm taking this one to the next
Yeah.
level.
It's a very original concept. Do you use Kickstarter to back the book, or you just make it and put it out?
The first one I didn't use Kickstarter. Second one I did, but it didn't reach the goal. It got close, but it didn't reach the goal. But to be honest, thank God it didn't reach the goal, because the pandemic started, and I wouldn't have been able to get all that stuff done. I wouldn't have been able to provide in that time period the things that I wanted to provide to all those people that backed me. So I was disappointed, but at the same time relieved. So, but the pandemic threw a wrench in just about everybody's plans.
Oh yeah.
But the Kickstarter went pretty well. But then the pandemic started, and then stuff happens. But it was all I wasn't really heartbroken over it. But I just went and did the digital publishing of it, and I got some hard copies in finally. So I'm actually gonna send a few out to like other reviewers and things like that. I was able to get a few in my hands, just so I can send to some reviewers. But it's not enough to be like I'm selling all of them. It's not.
Right. So what would you say the do's and don'ts are of making a comic?
Ooh, that's a very good question. I'll start with don'ts.
All right.
One thing that like, if somebody's starting or just thinking about writing a comic for the first time or whatever, you want to make a story, the don't is rush. Don't rush. A lot of people think, and a lot of people, excuse me, got a bug in my throat. A lot of people, especially people in the writing community, is like, all right, I'm gonna write this script. Now I'm gonna get me an artist, and now let's go ahead and get it done. No, that's the first order of business is don't rush. Take your time, flush out all your characters, know exactly what you want on that page. Because if you rush it and you exclude details, or it's like just because it's in your mind doesn't mean you know how to write it right.
Right.
Because you can think it, but if it's not precise and the detail is not dot 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 dot, and let's say you're not an artist, and then you send it to an artist, now it's up to an artist's interpretation of what they think you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's say I'm looking at you there, Cody, and I say Cody is in the foreground of the panel. In the background, there's a 2-paneled wall. Behind him is a Justice League poster on the upper north side of the background of the panel. The Justice League has about half of it is missing. On the left side of it, you can see Flash's symbol. On the right side of it, you can see Wonder Woman's symbol. That's the kind of detail you need to put into every panel.
Okay.
Because here's a bland version. Cody is in the panel. Behind him is a wall. There's 3 posters on the wall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You see what I mean? Now the artist would be like, okay, I'll just make him some posters. Oh, you didn't describe what Cody looks like, so I'll just make him anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so the don't for sure is don't rush, take your time. There's no hurry. There's no hurry. So that's the only major don't, I would say, is don't rush, because everything else is kind of goes under that umbrella of don't rush. The do's, make sure that not only once everything is written, and let's just say, like me, I'm a little OCD. So I have spreadsheets of characters descriptions. I have the written plot. I have the storyboard plot. I have everything written. Once everything is written, and let's just say finite, make sure you send it in to get your copyright. Get your copyright. It takes time. I know it's awful. Get your copyright. Make sure that what's yours is yours.
Mm.
The last thing you want is to just write it all and then to send it to somebody else, and then you don't have rights to that. They can literally just copy it and be like, oh, I'll just claim this as my own.
Yep.
Get your copyrights. Get everything that belongs to you legally, because you don't want to have that type of battle. You don't want to sit around, like we could look at comics of old that had those type of battles. Let's just take Shazam, for instance, aka former Captain Marvel, aka used to be owned by Fawcett Comics. The whole idea of that character has been bounced and ripped and sent to every which way until now, until like, all right, you know what, screw it, let's just call him something different, let's just do this. That's what happens when you don't own anything.
Mm-hmm.
Simple things like that. Another do that I think is just as important is have fun.
Oh yeah.
Have fun with the character that you're doing. Like if you're not having fun, there's really no point in you doing it, because it's a lot of work. And like if you're doing a lot of work and you're not having fun, now it's just a job. And I don't know about most people, but I don't like my regular job. I go there because I have to. I got bills to pay. So I go to do this job every day because I gotta pay bills. You shouldn't, your projects, your written artists, whatever the case may be, shouldn't feel like a job. It should feel like a passion. It should feel like something that you're really, really into doing. So if you're not having fun, then you're in the wrong industry. But yeah, and the third do is always be humble with it too. There's nothing more irritating than somebody that's good at something that they do and they're jerks. Because like if you're a jerk, I don't want to work with you. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to be around you. You know, nobody likes that kind of behavior. But if you're like humble and you're cool about it and being able to accept criticism and everything, I mean, like you're not only will you gain a following, but you'll actually gain people that enjoy your work. So those I'd say my do's and don'ts.
All right. Well, I think that's all the time we got for now. Do you have any shout outs or anything you want to tell the people before we go?
All right. Well, everybody, look out for Treble number 3 coming hopefully July 31st. To keep track of everything, check out Brutal Plan Comics on Facebook, facebook.com/bpcomics1. That's Bravo Papa Comics 1. And definitely give us a follow there. If you guys are on Facebook or, excuse me, on Twitter or Instagram, you can follow us at @DaBrute00. That's DA Brute, Delta Alpha Brute 00. Definitely give us a follow, send us some messages like, hey, did you like it? Did you not like it? What are other comic stuff that you enjoy? We'd like to hear from you. We just like having a good time. So hit us up. It'll be like having a good time. Let's do it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Cody.